Hello my minions, and today's book review is on StillBorn Gallery by Axel Barnes, and I have been dying to do this book for a bit, but I will tell you something, this book is not for the weak-hearted. If you're extremely against kind of gore, sex scenes, anything that could easily offend, this collection of nihilism is not for you. However, if you are an extreme lover, you'll like this one. Now, this book has some incredible illustrations done by Thomas Stetson. The digital art itself is done by SD Arts. Now, as soon as you see the cover, you know straight away you're in for a hell of a ride. So, the first story is Numbskull, which follows two workers in retail, which are Brian and Ricky. Ricky's kind of a Rocky Balboa wannabe. So instantly, you know, this is going to be one of those kind of, oh God, we've all got one of those at work kind of guys. You know, the big, tough guy out that likes to kind of put it on. This is Ricky. Brian is your lifer, as I like to put it. Somebody who's been in the business so long, they kind of, they've just, everyday routine just kind of folds one day into the other. I know that feeling. I've been in retail and it does feel like every day is the same, especially if you're doing constant shifts. But the way that Axel does this book is so intense. You are so confused at what is reality and what is actually in Brian's head. It's so warped and twisted. It's the best way to describe it. The whole book is warped and twisted. It's intense from the get-go with stories like Numbskull and Closing Shift. You can't really go wrong. You already set the scene for what kind of stories you're in for. But there are some that kind of stick out more than others. Ones for me, like Natasha's suicide, definitely like the description and the detail that goes into all these stories. They're there with every single one. There is some minor things that need to be edited, maybe. Well, you know what? Apart from that, it's a brilliant book. The art itself really sets you forward for what you're going to go into with these stories. And one story that sits with me constantly, well, there's two actually. Night Soil, which follows a woman called Tanya. Now, Tanya has, let's just say, it's kind of a cross between depression, dissociation disorder, and postnatal. Because this woman feels that she, basically having her child is a crime. And you feel so sorry for Tanya at first, because you're like, this woman feels so unwanted, so unloved. She feels like she has no purpose at all in her life except her child, and she feels like she failed him as well. She feels like her little boy is there just to kind of fill the void that she's got within herself, which is so sad. And then she kind of makes a way in her mind of justifying taking her own kid's life, like the fact that she's like, he pees himself with joy because he's been taken out of this world. And you sit there and you go, wow. These are not, they're so complex and dark. These stories, they make you think, and they also make you get into the mindset of somebody that is truly disturbed. Perfect Day was a bit of a shocker for me as well, because you got this guy who's having a wonderful day, like he's going to meet up with his girlfriend later, he's excited about his day, everything's going great, and then he starts reflecting on some old memories. Like he can't come to terms with himself as a person, and he decides that this one day is the day for him. And the ending to that story was a bit like a shock moment. You don't expect it, but then you think to yourself, well, Axel has surprised me so far, why am I not surprised now? But the big story for me was Sunday Exit, which follows Evelyn, who is somebody who has like anal cancer basically. It's heartbreaking because she wants to be out of her misery. She wants to be taken out of this trauma and pain. You can tell before all this, she was this career-driven, hard woman who would stop at nothing, and now there's this that is stopping everything. Her friend, who completely understands her heart, an ex-lover obviously, he's also a poet, she comes to his reading, and it's like they reconnect instantly in their pain, and it pulls you in. And also the atmosphere as well, the songs and the bands that Axel chooses for this particular one, like Chelsea Wolfe and nearly forgot the name Catatonia. These two are my favourite bands. I absolutely love them. So instantly I know which song's playing in my head while they're having their reunion of pain, almost kind of coming to terms with what's going on in their lives. And you can tell that these are two very broken souls, so completely desperate to escape reality and get away from the pain, especially for Evelyn. I mean, to fight something like that must be awful, and you feel for her. It really does grab you. That particular character really sticks, and the illustrations as well give you an idea that this is not a book that will give you hope. It is a book that will tear you down and also make you freak out. The artwork itself is very Rob Zombie-esque, which is why I liked it so much. It kind of reminded me of Beavis and Butthead's scene in the big movie where they're tripping out. That's the kind of style of artwork you're looking at with StillBorn Gallery. And the stories themselves, I mean, the last one is a very weird take on a zombie apocalypse that I never thought could be possible. And it's a very surreal book, very in-depth. Like I say, there is just teeny-weeny little bits in it that was like, oh, I've seen that sentence before, that description, or some things kind of didn't gel for me. But apart from that, like, you kind of ignore those things purely because of how in-depth the book is. How Axel takes this dark and twisted world and makes it his own. It's kind of why I like it so much. It's deep, it's dark, it's intense. If it's an extreme horror that will make you think, but also it will make you consider a mindset that not many people want to go into, but it's there, and you can process it in your own kind of form of ways. It's not a book for the faint-hearted, like I said, but the artwork, the illustrations, the depth of the stories, it's definitely worth a read. I enjoyed it. But I'm a dark and twisted human being anyway, aren't I, creepy bunny? Very creepy person. But if you want something different and something twisted, and you're not afraid of sex, blood, gore, and basically somebody getting ripped apart by an escalator, then woohoo! This is the book for you. But definitely one to check out in the library of Gruesome and Grisly. So my munchkins, I will be back with my next review in not long, because I want to try and get as much done today as possible. With my next book, which will be Demons Never Die, and that's by Red Cape Publishing. Obviously, I completely forgot to say that the publishing company that does this particular book is Quill and Lantern Publishing, and they're the ones that have put forward Axel's book. And it's something different and twisted and nihilistic in every sense of the way. Like, if you feel lost from the world and you want to read something that kind of sets you in that mindset of going, you end up feeling, when you finish the story, that it's like, what the hell did I just read? It really is kind of a weird, twisted world that he's created in his mind, and it makes you sit in that mindset and really analyze each story in depth in your mind. I mean, the details and the gore is definitely there. So if you're somebody like me who's a bit of a weird person that likes that kind of stuff, then please, my little ghouls, check out StillBorn Gallery, which is available on Amazon. For now, my darlings, I will see you soon.
It's okay, one day we will all die and become part of the ground.